In short, the problem we are facing now has been there for almost 100 years. It is not, we are not the cause of the problem. We are the solution. Exactly. Before now, the Benins were closer. We're not talking. I can guarantee you that till GBD emerged in 2017, there was no effort. One, I'm a student of history. There's no single effort heard anywhere whereby the Benin's had it in mind to try and assemble their people together. We started it in 2017. So, when we are talking about the Benin-Ife relationship, one of the most controversial history in sub-Saharan Africa, there were some historical narratives that were made, asserted by the Yorubas. It took us 40 years before we even had the mind to start responding to a really bastardized history. It was a gradual process. Until 2004, when Obaredia of blessed memory published a book, I Remain Your Obedient Servant, where he delivered a lecture in the University of Ibadan and publicly declared that your Oduduwa that you are talking about is our son in Caladeran. That was the official signature of an historical war between the Benins and Yorubas, because it was a unidirectional issue. The Yorubas were the one just talking. The Benins were not responding. Then some Benins, like the Eyaris in the 70s, the likes of the Oronsai in the 80s, then the likes of the Arkansas in the 90s, who published a work called Ikaladeran in the early 2000s. Then we begin to have Professor O.S.B. Omorige, who also tried to counter that. Words that Jacob Uwade has written in the 30s were, a lot of them were historically wrong. We didn't correct it because first, at that time, there was one single printing press in Nigeria. It was Ibadan Printing Press, which was controlled largely by the Yoruba people. So where would you now write your history that will be published? Because they were controlling the media. Eventually, 2004 happened. Obaredia Blessed Memory made a public declaration. Then social media happened. Social media is not a controlled, you cannot force anybody to a tight corner. So the Benin started to use the social media to speak. That history that the Yorubas have said is not wrong, absolutely rubbish. The hatred started. These people doesn't hate us. They just hate our gods. Yes. We are now beginning to tell our story. What was not there long time before now. Now, you come to the Igbos, they don't hate us. It's just that we are the only reason why they cannot get Biafra. So, you will have to impose your ideas on the Benin for you to get your Biafra. So a war is declared on the Benin people. The greatest setback that they have is not Nigeria government. It is the Benin people. Yes. So that was, they must buy everybody. Even the people you think that your Benin brothers are, a lot of them are being bought every day. To tear the history apart. That is why they have been contacting a lot of our people in Esanland. Yes. To start to give a narrative that they are not part of us. But we need to send a message to them that the concept, we must understand that division cannot get us anywhere. We have to have our backs. And some part of our history that was Auri, that was not really good, we must not try to correct them. The supremacist aspect of our history must be laid low. The pride of the Benin man is based on some 3-4 cardinal points. Our patriotism to the land, our ability to speak truth at all times, and Benin's of the old had integrity. These core values over the years have depreciated. To rise that, we must not see any Benin descendant or any Benin person in the context Benin. I'm not referring to current day Edo South. In short, the concept of Edo South is a British sort of governmental administration. Yes. There wasn't Edo South, there wasn't Edo North, there wasn't boundaries of our people. We were just called Benin people at one point in history. So we want to take off those senatorial boundaries, state boundaries that the British created. And I say that we do not have boundaries with Delta State. We don't have boundaries with River State. We are just one people flowing in one direction. So, like my brother said, it is not that bad. All right, we are waking up. We must follow that tenacity that it is time for the great Benin to rise again. And we must now look for practical ways. That is why we are here. Of everything that has been said by all our people, I know of it all. I know that we have issues. If the GBD as a group do not know that these issues are bound, there is no essence to call for this conference. This conference is now to say, okay, so that you shouldn't say we don't know. Tell us what the problems are. When you not tell us what the problems are, the question will not remain, what are the way forward? Systematically, we lost our language to our neighbors. Systematically, we lost our names to our neighbors. Then systematically, we need to get back our names. We need to get back our language. One of the greatest things about Amowie did for the Yorubas was bringing different ethnic groups together under an umbrella and giving them one language to unify them, which was the Oyo language. Otherwise, an Ijebu man does not understand the language of the Ilaje, and the Ilaje man does not understand the language of the Awori. The Awori does not understand the language of Ibadan. Ibadan does not understand the language of the Oyo. But because Oyo was a very powerful empire at that time, it brought them together and told them to take the language of the Oyo people, which you call the Yoruba language today. These are ancestrally different people, but today we all call them Yoruba people. Language is the greatest instrument of unity. Yes. So, now we're not talking about people who have the same ancestry, the same. Why can't we now begin to adopt a unilateral language that unifies all of us? Why can't we now begin to see that bearing other people's tribal names is making us look like them? You cannot tell me as a Benin man if I bear a Mecca today that an Igbo man will not see me as an Igbo man. So we need to start correcting all of that. In terms of names and in terms of language, we are going to unite our people in ideas that we must agree today. In terms of whether it is in terms of names, in terms of language. That is why if you go to the earliest names of the Obis of Iselu, they were bearing pure Benin names. What has happened? I don't know whether everyone understands. Yes. They were bearing all pure Benin names. Yes. What has happened? They are still Benin people. They must start to re-embrace their Beninness by trying to now understand that there are more beautiful names from their own language back home than from the language of their neighbors. language is one of the strongest instruments of unity. Coincidentally, our ancestors, imperial ancestors of the old, didn't know. I will not blame them. We have a popular parable. I will say, Karaze, do Izoduwa, Amazero, Tawi. It was the Benin's had an imperial concept that when I conquer, for example, I just give them leadership. It is humanity. After conquering you and giving you leadership, I should not take your existence from you, your language. So, in all the territories the Benin's got to, probably conquered or inhabited, they took language as a secondary thought of colonization. But they never knew that is actually the primary thought of colonization. How come that the Igbos who never won the Benin's in any war, never recorded in history, nor the Yorubas, because I always say it's a fun fact. Tell me any war ever fought. Benin's fought multiple wars with the Yorubas. Benin's fought multiple wars with the Igbos. Tell me any of these wars that Benin's were defeated. No, that's a fun fact. But how come that their languages is not very close to the very center of our land? Neglect. We neglected because we never knew language is an instrument of unity. So we must now look at critically into language. We must now look at critically into our names, which are very, very vital. And like I said, we have a whole lot of work to do. But I assure you, we need to start a little bit by bit. And we don't have to rush the entire process. The process you talk that those stupid idiots on social media, it is a natural process. When we get things right, we'll naturally take care of. Those are the least of our worries.